What is up, guys? My name is Matt Workman for Cinematography Database, and in this video we're going to be looking at how to design a simple prison using the new prison set assets that are part of Set Designer that I uploaded this morning. So this is more or less the final set that we're going to be creating today. And just to give you a quick little preview, and we'll probably build it out even a little bit more, and this should be helpful for people that are not, level designers at video game companies or layout artists at 3D animation companies. Like most filmmakers, this stuff is kind of foreign, but hopefully this starts to give you some foundation to be able to build bigger and bigger levels or worlds for your previous sets. If you don't know, you can get this at Set Designer, which is at the Cinematography DB website. It's $129 a year, and you get access to all this stuff. And you want to go get the prison set if you want to follow along with this one. So let's start from scratch. So I'm going to close this, and I'll save it. And so when you download that, you're going to get a lib4d file, and then you can install it, and you're going to get three things. You're going to get a prison cell, which I'll bring in, a bunk bed, and a toilet with the top cut off of it. And this is it, pretty basic. It comes textured, so that's going to be very helpful. And if you click on the prison cell itself, this is our main unit of building a prison out. This was the hard part to research and build. It does have one control here, which is to slide the door open and close, which I thought that would be cool because, like, depending on what the scene is, it's going to be open or closed, and maybe you even animate it. And if you are so daring, you can change the materials of all the things right here by just dragging and dropping them into that. But we're just going to leave the defaults. So to start, we're going to start building this out, and we're going to grab the prison cell itself, and we're going to use something called an instance. And the instance is essentially a copy of it. That's exactly what it is. And if you change anything about the original, like for instance, open the door, the instance will do the same thing, or if you move things around. So that's a plus and a minus of it, but in this case, I'm okay to have them be all the same. So we're gonna make a couple cells here, and in the example, I just used 3, but you can easily see how this could start turning into, like, actually this would need some sort of floor in between it, but it could start to be something like this, right? And you're just moving these around like they're blocks, but they're blocks that have rooms inside of them, and you can start building out your prison set that way. So what else is in here? We have this bathroom slash bedroom. I found this bunk bed design online, and I just kind of 3D modeled it really quickly. And I took the toilet and pillow from other Set Designer assets, and I chopped the top off of it. So that's very prison feeling in there. And there's a couple ways of dealing with populating this. You could then take something like this bunk bed and make instances of it. Got a top view might be helpful. And you can just start to, like, put it in the other rooms. I don't know if, like, they're all supposed to be, like, identical. You could do the same thing with the toilet. You could have also made this all one group and then instance that. It's really up to you. It depends on if you want things to be different. Right? So now we have, I'm just going to delete those. Now we have our prison cells, and it's looking pretty good. So let's see, I'm gonna add a hallway floor to this, and in case you guys haven't done this before, this will be helpful. So it's just a plane. Just gonna drag it out like this, maybe. And this comes with a texture down here that's gonna look really nice, is this big tiles. And all you have to do is change it from, you're gonna click the tag for it and change it from UV to cubic. And that's going to look pretty nice. So let's stop here before we go any further, but I'll kind of design this out a little bit more as time goes on. This is not Redshift ready, so let's keep this all in physical. We're going to go to physical. We're going to go to progressive like that, okay? So this should all render pretty quickly. So I'm going to assume that the people watching this for the most part are Cine Designer users, so I'm going to use Cine Designer lights. I still haven't added all my lights yet. I just did the R3 launch videos or tutorial videos yesterday, so I have to go back and add them all in myself. They're not too bad, but I'm going to take the Sky Panel S30 here, and what we're going to do is I'm going to bring it up, and we're going to switch it to underslung, which is new, and we're going to go to 90, so it's pointing straight down. I will then kind of cheat. I'm going to cheat. This isn't very realistic. I'm going to kind of just shove it through the wall like that. So picture this as more like a practical light. I'm just going to use this for now. It's an area light if you want to do this without the Cine Designer lights. And I'm going to make this about 50,000. Okay. So I think this should actually work if I instance this light too. Sometimes instance lights work kind of funny, but essentially that's the really fast way of lighting this. So let's see how this is looking. I'm going to give myself a little bit more runway here. Right? So this should be pretty easy and straightforward. And the thing that's going to make this look very real are the textures. Really, these textures that I've created in Substance Designer and made available through Set Designer, they're really what gives this life, gives this set like quite a bit of life. So let's take a quick peek at this render. You guys can see some of the finished renders that I did before. So that's with our talent in there and some lighting, same exact lighting. And we'll see how this is coming out too. So this doesn't have GI on, it's just a straight up progressive render, which I think is a really good way to start look deving this stuff. And it looks pretty cool, right? We have these kind of cool reflections on the wall from the sky panel. We have the direct light, of course, on the walls themselves, and some nice broken up glossy reflections that will take quite a while to resolve themselves and look nice. Pretty cool. I will just make a note that if this was Redshift, we'd be done by now. It would be completely finished. But physical, still looking pretty good. So this is how I work for quite a while. I don't really turn on GI until closer to the end, when I'm okay to sit here for much longer. So let's add our person. This is a Fuse character. Where are they? Where'd you go? I'm in the process of regenerating all my Fuse characters too, but Fuse stopped working for me, but now it's working again. So that's nice. So I went and made this character kind of like an orange is the, orange is the new black kind of style character here with the orange prison suit. And you can just bring in a couple people. I'm just gonna use the same one because I don't have very many people right now. I have to go rebuild my entire database, and I kind of do characters a little bit differently. I'm just gonna bring in another one because why not? You don't want to actually clone these or instance them. They don't work. Doesn't work that well. Let's see how crazy this is going to look. I'm going to hit NC to get rid of the lighting because it's just not helpful. Let's see how bad this looks if I make you lay down without actually having to change anything. All right. Okay. Not the best pose, but you get it. Oh, and your feet are coming through. Maybe I made this bed a little bit too small. Okay, had a quick phone call, and we have our person in here, and I guess this bed's maybe a little bit small. You could always get in there and kind of scale it if you wanted to. Someone's standing, someone's sleeping, and I'm going to add one more person. This might like really make the render time kind of large, but we'll find out. I'm gonna put them here. Kind of interesting to have someone a little bit more foreground like this. Like that. I think that would be kind of cool. And I guess we should really close all the prison cells because they're in there. So let's take a peek at what this kind of feels like as a wide shot. She should maybe be over there, but let's render it. So we're using progressive mode, and I'm not using GI until the very end. I don't know if I've ever said that before, but that's typically the way that I work. You can imagine there's going to be a little bit of bounce light, but it doesn't change things all that much. With Redshift, you can work with GI on the whole time. It's that fast, it doesn't matter. But this looks pretty good to me, so I like where this is going. So I'm going to stop that. For some reason, my computer takes a long time to pause the progressive render and then close it. So that's why we're still waiting here. So that's the basics of this. You're going to duplicate the cube, duplicate the set pieces, and drop some lights in there. You could use whatever lights you want. If you don't have Cine Designer lights, use whatever you have. If you have Cine Designer lights, we're going to make practicals pretty soon. But practicals are kind of funny to design. You'd be surprised. They're kind of a pain in the butt. So what I'm going to do now is make some walls, which always sounds simple, but for some reason is still kind of cumbersome for me. So I'm going to make them 6 inches. We're going to make them 10 feet tall, and I'm going to make it 5 feet in the air. So now it's on the ground. And so now what I can do is make I can make the rest of the walls and kind of build out a location. So this is kind of fun. And the key to this is to use the one of these concrete wall materials that should come with this. And again, switch it to cubic. And now you have like more or less a parametric wall. If you're part of Set Designer already, you'll know that we have a couple different wall objects. And those work great, but they're mostly designed for like houses. They were mostly designed to be used at a house for building like residential house things, because they have like very specific. Wow, I'm bad at this right now. They have very specific design qualities and features in them, like the different types of molding and the baseboard and stuff like that, and the type of windows, the double hung windows, those are really only present in houses, so they're not going to really make as much sense here. I'm not sure that this makes any sense either, but this is how you would keep building this whole thing out. Something like this. So now you have a bunch of walls, and you can drop your camera in there, which maybe I'll do as a final demo. And you could do something like this. And because it's parametric and cubically mapped, you can just do this with it. And the textures aren't going to line up like perfectly, but like I can guarantee you no one will notice. This is not going to a movie. This is not for a video game, AAA video game. This is for previs. So you just want to roughly get in some sort of set pieces. And this is kind of like a workflow to do so. Now, this is a weird prison. I'm not saying this is like what prisons look like at all. But here we are just scooting around a bunch of planes and quads. That's all it is. And again, the thing that makes this like look kind of like realistic is that there is a... the materials are pretty nice on it. So let's make another floor while I'm going to make this tutorial way too long. Not that this makes sense. So how would we do something like this? I would probably take a cube, right? And this is kind of fun, right? This is kind of like being a level designer, or what I imagine a level designer does for a video game. They just do it much better. We would do something like this. So this is going to be like the floor, and it has like a kind of like an offset, something like this. So I don't ever intend to see the back of this set. Really, just the front part. It's gonna look claustrophobic in here. But so we're gonna just make this like top rafter riser thing like this. You know, you could spend a little bit more time to line it up nicer. I'm gonna disable this one so I can see what I'm doing. It's not touching. We could be using orthographic, but I don't feel like it. Cool. That's pretty good. Pretty good. So let's put another concrete on there. Switch it to cubic. And now we have a floor, which looks pretty good. So let's take our prison, where is it? I think I could take like this and the cell, right? Are these all the same ones? If I do this, they are. So I can do this, hold control, make a whole new prison, whole new cell, right? And you should probably organize your situation over there so it doesn't look like mine, but I'm doing this really quickly for a tutorial. So yeah. So there you go. There's the kind of the makings of a double top. What's it called? A two-story prison. Wow. I'm not an architect. I am not an architect, but I pretend to be on YouTube. So let's grab some of these sky panels, and they're all still just instances, right? Okay, not the most realistic to use sky panels that are penetrating the wall, but that's what we're doing today. Just tell them on set that Matt Workman told you to drill a hole in the wall and put a sky panel right into it. And there, we have a pretty cool looking prison here. Pretty cool. Oh, do I have my stairs in here? I forget if I have the stairs. Now, these are really crappy stairs. I promise I'm gonna build better ones, but now you can do like, I don't know, and those are kind of like residential. Oh, these stairs are so bad. But anyway, these are set designer stairs that I made for the launch. Not the best, but you know, they get it done. So what you can do is go do. And that kind of lined up perfectly, didn't it? And those are really ugly stairs. Those don't make any sense at all. But you get the idea, right? So you're going to just keep playing around, and they're just cubes with textures on it. And again, the textures are what make this whole thing kind of like believable when you go to render it. And it gives scale to everything, and it makes it seem like not like a 3D set. It looks more like a real world set because of that. So this is pretty cool. I'm going to do... Oh, I can... That's not right. Where'd those stairs go? So this is going beyond the scope of the video, but I just wanted to try to show this process. I feel like I still really enjoy watching these kind of videos, watching other people build sets, because I'm still kind of learning how to do it myself. So it's not lining up perfectly, of course, but it's okay. And we're just getting kind of rough and dirty here. We don't have to be perfect at all. I think Cinema 4D is really good for this kind of stuff. And you just want to concept a set with your director, or by yourself, or if you are the director, you can do that too. You just want to concept it like this quickly, right? So like this don't overlap perfectly and whatnot, but who cares? When I render this, it's so dark and whatever, it doesn't matter. And the last thing I have is this. You can model it yourself, of course, pretty easy, but I made parametric ones, and I'm gonna make them even better. So set designer people, go get these if you wanna kind of follow this. And we have kind of residential railings in the prison set, but pretty cool overall. So I should be able to, can I change the, oh, okay, so this, I changed the width by going like this, okay. So I go like that, and then I can change the number of railings in it. So cool. So there's like an interesting prison set, right? Let's render this out. Let's turn GI on, and let's see how this whole thing looks. I'm not even going to save this because it's not very good. So let's go to, we're still in progressive. I'm going to make this 4 and 4. And global illumination. We're going to do QMC. Light mapping. Low, because I don't have that much time for this. And we're going to do a little bit of ambient occlusion. Limit it to 10 centimeters. Evaluate the transparency and go back to here and add a little bit of ambient occlusion. So this is kind of my workflow for physical. Let's let this render because this is going to take a long time. Now, physical renderer, really decent quality in the end. I like QMC when you can do this progressive preview thing because hopefully this generates something to look at in a second. There's the light mapping. And why is that? Seems darker. But anyway, I like this workflow, and this is like what Cinedesigner was born with, right? And this is what this is what everyone's using because no one's using Redshift but me and like a few other people in the beta. But this is taking a long time. Damn, that's because there's 6 lights, believe it or not, and these are pretty complicated textures. This is gonna take a while. This is probably gonna be one of those like half-an-hour renders at 720p. That's just how this works. And the reason I'm sitting here and still talking to you is that I am now, because Cinedesigner R3 is out, I've updated everything that's going to allow me to then now update easier to, say, Redshift, Octane, V-Ray, or Arnold. I can now change everything much easier that I've updated everything. And we're going to be going to Redshift next. And I will just say that a Redshift render at this size, this complexity, it would almost already be done at a very high quality. So it's going to be really exciting to switch to that render engine for the people that want to play along and go there. But physical render works great. You just have to set something like this and be like, cool, I'll be back. Because this is going to take a long ass time. Okay, so we are back and I let this sit here for 17 minutes and this is where it got to. Now, you probably could have just switched this to adaptive and maybe it would have been similar time and it would have looked a little bit better. But you know, for Cinedesign, I think we got the message across here. I don't need perfect resolution. If you want to let this sit overnight or whatever and have it be like amazing, then go for it. But for me, when I'm doing things, this is usually enough when I'm using physical. So that looks pretty cool. I think what I'm noticing here about this is I'm just gonna I should have probably looked at some architecture for reference on what a prison actually looks like. But I feel like there's gonna be this, like that as well, right? And then this railing is gonna keep going around. So I'm gonna make a YouTube video for the main YouTube channel when this prison's all being finished, and that'll be cool. And hopefully you guys got an idea on how to use the new assets, the prison ones. Where are we? Where's our prison set? Here, this. So we built this whole set basically from these 3 things, mostly the cell, and then it's really just about adding textures to cubes and planes and building out the rest of your world. And this looks pretty cool. And again, I keep things kind of dark and cinematic so you don't notice these little imperfections, and no one really ever will. And then we can kind of bring in more people. I have a police officer, and you can build out your movie in different different setups and actually light the hallways, etc. So this got kind of long and meandering at the end here, but hopefully you guys have enjoyed this, and hopefully you guys are enjoying Set Designer as well. Until next time, I'll see you on the next video.